Hello and welcome everybody, my name is Jocelyn and today we are doing a video that I haven't filmed in a while, quite a few months actually. I think the last one that I filmed was back in February, March. It was much earlier this year. And it is my Thoughts on Drops series, which is inspired by Samantha March's Will I Buy It series. So I will have her linked down below. And it's basically just where I talk about my thoughts on some recent makeup drops, or maybe not so recent, since again I haven't filmed this in quite a while. I did ask over on Instagram what people wanted me to talk about, so I have collected a few of those. If you ever want to be involved in some of my videos, like before they're filmed of course, definitely go over and check me out on Instagram because I do post a lot of questions over there and get feedback from people about what they want to see, what products they might want to be included in future videos, that kind of thing. It's just charismatic.claire over on Instagram. I will also have it linked down below in case you are interested. But I have collected a handful of those responses and then also just a couple of extra things that I thought I would touch on. So let's get started. Let me just chat with you about some new makeup drops, whether I think that they're good launches, whether I think maybe they're not my cup of tea, whether I think I'm going to pick them up or pass over them, all that kind of jazz. So let me scooch over so that I can pop a screenshot on the screen of what I'm talking about as I'm talking about it. The first thing that people wanted me to touch on was, there was actually a couple things from ColourPop, of course, because it feels like they're launching every week, sometimes multiple times a week, different things. So one of their latest relaunches, at least as of when I'm filming this right now, is their new Smoke Show palette, which is, if you're not familiar, a gray and silver black palette, and that's it. Honestly, I think this is an excellent launch, especially for this time of year. October is the perfect time to launch something like this. It looks like they have the 9-pan palette that is all whites, grays, silvers, and black, along with some Super Shock shadows that are along that same tone. It looks like they might also have a couple other like liners and other products that are along the same line. I think this is an incredible launch. When I first saw it, I immediately was like, that's cool, but I don't want it. I had the Urban Decay, what was it called? I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head, but it was the smoky palette. I think, is that what it was? I don't really remember, but it was their gray toned palette that had grays and blacks and silvers that was meant for like a smoky eye kind of thing. And I never used it. I just don't like grays and really dark colors on my eyes, on myself personally. So although I thought this was a really good launch and I think that this palette looks really cool and like a lot of people are gonna love it, it's just not for me. I have no interest in it because I know even if I bought it, I wouldn't use it. But that being said, again, I think it's an excellent launch and I think that really perfect time of year. The next ColourPop item, maybe the last ColourPop item that we're going to talk about today that people were interested in hearing my thoughts on, was the new Disney collection. I was a little bit shocked that they're partnering again with Disney because they already did a launch with Disney and they came out with another eyeshadow palette, and looks like there's 8 collections that have a pressed pan of some sort, so either a highlighter or a blush and a liquid lipstick along with it, that each feature a different princess. I thought that it was cool that they brought in different princesses, not all of, you know, the ones that we see all of the time. I am not interested in the eyeshadow palette at all. There's so many shades in this palette that look almost identical to some of the ones that are in the old palette, which I do have. I have the original Disney palette. I think that the artwork, just like on the first one, is really beautiful, and I really love, I do really love the artwork, but I know that I don't need another one. I have that first one. I don't have any interest in any of the sets. I mean, I guess I have mild interest in the sets because I've been wanting to try a ColourPop pressed powder, either a blush or a highlight or even a bronzer or something like that. I haven't ever tried one and I've had a pretty strong interest. I haven't looked close enough into any of the sets to see if there's one that I would like enough to get. However, as I mentioned, they were also launching lip products with the sets, which are different from any lip products that they currently have. And what they are is they are Luxe liquid lipsticks. Now the Luxe lipsticks are probably my favorite formula ever. I love them. I have a bunch. right back here in this little lipstick tower. They're some of my, I mean, they're a regular bullet lipstick, but they're some of my absolute favorite formula, and it looks like they have liquefied this product to create, again, a luxe liquid lipstick. Some of my favorites are Wonder Boy, Flynn, and I think the Beast. Those three are my favorite. So we have Hercules, Tangled, and Beauty and the Beast. All three of those look right up my alley. I'm definitely interested in trying out that formula, because again, I love the ColourPop satin liquid lipstick formula, and I love their luxe lipstick formula. Those two. All of the other ones are not as good, except maybe the gloss, but I don't have very much experience with the gloss. But I really want to try this liquid lipstick formula, and all three of those shades look right up my alley. Flynn looks, oh, really good. So does Wonder Boy though. And I love those names too so much. So those I'm super interested in. The palette, not at all, although I do really like the artwork on it. And then the pressed powder products I'm also mildly interested in, especially, I don't know. Oh, here we go. Okay, so it looks like the Rapunzel bundle has what I think is a light pink blush with the liquid lipstick. It might be too light for me, so I don't know if I'd be super interested in that one. Belle has a very similar one, but it looks a little darker, so maybe I'd be interested in her bundle. It looks like Meg's bundle comes with the liquid lipstick and what looks like a lavender highlight. That might be kind of cool. I don't know. I definitely want to hear people's thoughts on these products before I jump to anything. The current Disney collection, I believe, is still available on their site, so I have plenty of time to wait to pick these products up. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about, somebody wanted me to talk about the Urban Decay Honey palette. I don't think I've talked about that anywhere yet, but we'll go ahead and talk about it now. Wasn't interested in it when I saw it first launch, so when I saw pictures start coming through for it, it just looked like a neutral, warm-toned palette, something that I have many times over in my collection already, and probably could easily dupe out of my single pan shadows if I wanted to. And then I saw it in stores and had the same exact feelings. There was no shade in there that really called out to me. It doesn't look like anything special to me. And I'm a big fan of the Naked Heat palette, the Cherry palette. I like the original palette, and I really liked for a long time the Naked 3 palette, but mine's really old and just, you know, it's going out the door real soon. So I have a favorable opinion on a lot of those palettes and that formula. This just, it doesn't do anything for me, and I just have no interest in it. I think that if you like neutrals, then maybe I just feel like there's maybe better alternatives out there for not quite the same price, or maybe the same price, that offer a little bit more variety and give you more options, even if you're a neutral lover, even if you're someone who just works in an office all day. There's probably better options out there that offer, again, more variety and just better. But I'm sure there are people out there that are gonna love this palette. I'm not one of those people. Moving on. Oh, next, something else that people wanted me to talk about is the new Huda Beauty, what are these called? The new Huda Beauty Obsession palettes, the new minis. This is the nude collection. So there are 3 palettes ranging from light, medium to rich. I really like that they used the word rich on the darkest palette instead of light, medium, and dark. I really like that. I thought that was very tasteful. I personally think these are beautiful. Here, let me get it. I have 2 of the Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes. I have the Gemstones Obsessions, which looks like this and has some really neat shades in there. Some of them are duochrome, a lot of them are just metallic and beautiful. And the other one I have is one that I use all of the time, especially when traveling. I take this traveling just about every time I travel. It is the Coral Obsessions palette, and this is what the inside looks like. I don't think it looks super, oh well, maybe it does look relatively used. I don't know. I've definitely used all of the shades in here, and I really like this. I do think that I have a sensitivity to this top middle shade, because I've noticed that if I use that, it's just my right eye for some reason waters. I don't know what that's about, but I love the size of these. I love the pan sizes. I like that there's not a bunch of wasted space in here, and you get a mirror, which makes, again, it perfect for traveling. So these 3 palettes, I just really like. I just think they're a good release. There is what looks like the perfect amount of matte to metallic or shimmer shade ratios in here. They're a really nice nude palette. I love that there is a different palette for each shade range, or you know, if you want something a little deeper or a little lighter, you can go with that. I really like these personally. Maybe not everybody does. Maybe people look at this and just say these look like the same exact palettes, just arranged differently. I did see that on Twitter, I think, but maybe. I think they're beautiful. I really like the medium one, even though possibly the light one would, well, I really like the light one too. I think that the dark one would be too dark. I mean, not too dark for me, right? But there's not light enough transition shades in there for me, probably. But I really like, I like them all. I really like them all. There's a good chance that I would pick one of these up. I think $29 is a okay price range. You're getting 9 shades, so what's that math? $3.22 a shade. That seems pretty great to me. I could see myself picking one of these up, either the medium or the light one. I think these are a great launch. I know some people didn't have a good experience with her gemstones line. Not this palette, but she came out with like the amethyst, the topaz palette, and she came out with like a green, a blue, a purple, an orange palette, and then maybe one other. I don't really remember. I didn't get any of those, but I've heard people haven't had the greatest experience with those ones, but I'm willing to bet that these ones might be pretty good. So I'll probably wait. I'm not in the market to buy another palette at this time, but these feel like something that could be around for a while. As with any of the things I'm talking about, I would love to hear your opinion down in the comments below. Ooh, next. All right, let's talk about Anastasia. So I haven't bought any Anastasia palettes this year at all. Part of that is because there hasn't been one that I've really been interested in, and part of that is because the brand has turned very much ColourPop-ish, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this. And so I went back through the history of her palette releases this year, and if I'm not mistaken, all of these palettes have released this year from Anastasia. The Riviera palette, I believe, launched earlier this year. Then the Alyssa Edwards palette launched after that. And then of course the Decay Honey palette, which was quickly overshadowed by all 3 Norvina releases, the Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. And then now we have the Carly Bible palette. So that is 7 palettes this year, which is crazy. And we still have plenty of months, like 3 months to go before the end of the year, so there's a good chance that we might see another one. Even 7 palettes, if I remember correctly, which maybe I'm wrong, usually I think she only launches, or in the past, she's only launched 3 to 4 palettes a year, so 7 is quite the jump, in my opinion. It does feel very overwhelming, and 1, 2, 3 of those palettes were collaborations. I feel like that would kind of suck. Like the Jackie palette launched 1 week, and then I'm pretty sure the Volume 1 palette launched literally the week after. And then the Carly Bible palette launched very recently, but the Volume 3 palette I think launched right before that. So it feels very stacked one on top of another. I don't know, I just feel like if I was a diehard Anastasia fan, which I am not, but I really like her formula, then I would feel like, ugh, I don't know what to do because I want everything. And I'm pretty sure that the volume palettes are kind of a lot of money, like 60 bucks or something like that. $60, yeah. So they each come with 25 shades. They're $60 each. Let me talk about those first since we've been talking about them. I am not a fan of huge palettes. I really like my medium-sized palettes. I really like these 9-pan palettes and 5-pan palettes. I don't hate this large of a palette scheme, but it makes me hesitant. It makes me nervous with that many shades. I might be alone in that. I might not be. I don't know. If I were to look at all 3 of these palette releases together and pick out one that I'd prefer over the other ones, I think Volume 2, the one in the turquoise packaging, is my favorite. It is more of the green blue shades, and then Volume 1 was more pink purple, and then Volume 3 was a hodgepodge. It's like neutral with pops all over the place. I heard somebody say that they wished that they would have organized the palettes in like hue order instead of just so scattered, like the greens all over the place. They wish that they would have put them next to each other because it would have been a little more aesthetically pleasing and visually pleasing, but they didn't. They're just kind of scattered throughout the palette, which may be part of what my reservation is. If they had gone in order, I think I would have been a lot more interested in the palette, but they didn't. And again, 60 bucks, and they're so big, it's just not my cup of tea. I think that the releases so close together was overwhelming, and it could have been something that people were looking forward to and really excited about, but because it seemed like they came out almost within the same month, it felt like. I mean, I don't know because I didn't look that closely at them, but it was overwhelming. I think for a lot of people, I think, again, and that's 60 bucks a palette. So that's, what is that math? $180? Yeah, $180 for all three. I think it was a lot. Those palettes just aren't my cup of tea. Now, if we go to the most recent launch, which is the Carly Bible palette, I can see how some people are gonna love this palette. It is very feminine. It is very pretty. The shimmer shades in here look gorgeous. If I look at them swatched individually, they look really, really pretty, but this isn't for me. It feels very beige, I guess you could say. I feel bad because I like Carly Bible. I don't really follow her, but I have nothing against her. I like her, and you know, I don't like talking not great about other creators. This just, it's not for me. I don't think that this is something that I personally would use. I think I have these shades already in my collection. I'm not in love with the packaging. It's just not my cup of tea. So I will not be buying this. I'll be interested to hear reviews and see what people make of this palette, but I don't look at this palette and get inspired. So it's not for me. Oh boy. Oh, the thing that I don't know, I want to talk about it, but I also feel really nervous to talk about this because I haven't really on my channel brought up this name, this person, and perhaps you already know what I'm about to talk about. I got a request to talk about this launch. The launch hasn't happened yet. It is the Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson launch. I have been following along with the series. I really like Shane. I just feel I don't know how to talk about this. Okay, let me just start with saying that a lot of the social media culture right now doesn't appear to allow for redemption, forgiveness. It's the cancel culture, right? Which I don't agree with. I do think that people need to be held accountable for their actions. I do believe that people need to speak up when something bad is happening. You know, when someone's doing something shitty, they need to be held accountable to it. I do believe that, but I feel as though a lot of the community is very much, you mess up, you're done. We don't care what you do next. We don't care if you're trying to become a better person. We don't care. You're done. I don't support you. I will never support you. And I don't love that. I am also not a part of the community that was harmed by Jeffree Star's actions. I don't necessarily support him either. I don't support him. I have bought some of his lipsticks a few years ago. I haven't purchased anything else from him because I don't feel comfortable bringing him onto my channel. And here I am bringing him onto my channel now. I haven't wanted that in my life on my channel. Part of it is his racist past. Part of it is the way that it seemed as though he thrived on drama and just was a very dramatic person. And although I think he's very interesting and he can be very entertaining, I didn't love that he was a person who seemed to invite the drama into life and kind of escalate things. Has he changed? I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, I've tried to disassociate myself from all of those things. So again, I want to talk about this because I want to know how you feel about it as my audience and what you think about him, maybe his brand, maybe his actions, maybe just cancel culture in general. Do you think that there should be a point where people are allowed to be forgiven? And what that point is there a point where you think that no, there's no going back, this person is a bad person through and through, and here's why, and we just shouldn't support them ever at all? I really want to know from you because I feel like I'm stuck in this place where, because I don't know these people, I'm also not a part of the group of people who was severely impacted by, so it's not my place to forgive somebody. I don't know if it's coming across how indecisive I feel. I feel a little conflicted because I do really like Shane. I enjoy his content. I think he has grown immensely as a person and as a creator. I know not everybody feels that way, and that's totally fine. You don't have to like Shane, or you don't have to like Jeffree. You can hate them with all of your might, but I really hope that that doesn't change your opinion of me, which is why I want to talk about this. I'm scared to talk about this, but I want to have a discussion as adults in the comment section down below, just what your thoughts are. Again, I really like Shane. I don't know if you've watched it. There's a good chance you haven't watched the series and you have no interest in it, and that's totally fine. And I apologize that I'm taking so much time in this video to talk about it, but I am watching the series. I think it's super interesting to watch the process of creating a product, especially their eyeshadow palette. I'm super drawn to the shades that they've created so far. A part of me would really love to try the palette when it launches, but a part of me is still extremely nervous to bring that onto my channel with the fear that people will leave or look at me differently because I've chosen to purchase something from somebody who you might view, and maybe I view, as not a good person to support. Because I've been pretty transparent that I don't support Kat Von D, I don't support Jeffree Star Cosmetics. I'm trying to think if there's any other brands specifically that are very problematic that I don't support. Those are the big two. Yeah, so this took a turn, so I really want to have a discussion. Please keep it respectful in the comment section. Not all of us have to agree on everything, but I do really want your opinion, and I would love to hear it down in the comments below. My thoughts on the palette so far: I think the shades look really beautiful and I'm interested, but not at the detriment of hurting the people in my community. We're gonna go ahead and move on to someone mildly less controversial, but still a bit controversial. I haven't filmed this video in so long, and now we're just probably damaging my channel. We're gonna talk about Lunar Beauty and his most recent launch, which is the Moonspell collection. I think that yes, it's Moonspell. It's his Halloween launch, and I think this palette is freaking gorgeous. I heard a lot of people think that it wasn't spooky enough for them. I think this is a gorgeous palette. I watched part of his launch video where he swatched a bunch of the shades and talked about a bunch of the shades. I absolutely love the packaging. I think the packaging is just so cool. And I really like the shades. I think that they're super cool. Will I buy it? Probably not. At least if it sticks around for a long time, then, oh, it is limited edition, so I don't know. I am interested in it, but I could see myself not picking it up just because I recently purchased 2 palettes and I'm not in a place where I need another palette right now. I think it's super cool. I think it's a really good launch. Could it have been darker, deeper, spookier? Yeah, sure. But I personally really like these shades. I like the shade selection. I love the packaging. I really like the names. I think Manny is a perfect example of someone who has grown from his mistakes. You might completely disagree, and that's totally fine, but I think Manny has learned and grown exponentially as a person. I had a couple other products that I was thinking of talking about, but I think that this video is plenty long, so I'm going to end it here. Please let me know down in the comments what you think about all of these products and some of the topics that I touched on in this video. I really want to have a discussion with you. There are a lot of things that I've had kind of on my mind, and part of this YouTube channel is just chatting with you about life and things that are going on in life and the community. So let's have a respectful discussion, please. If you liked this video, if you like Thoughts on Drops videos, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to subscribe for more content from me, don't forget to do so before you go. All of those buttons are down below. And I think that is everything I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.